welcome to Wireheads. We are on episode 42. I'm Diamond Dust, and this is my co-host Emmerron, and I've just learned that one of his friends is much more unhinged than I thought originally. If you want to know what's up, Haven the Tiefling, I'm not going to say anything more.
Shout out to Haven. We love you, Haven.
All right.
We were talking with him for some other stuff today, and he just posted a short after posting one a few days ago that I was like, hey, Diamond, you need to check this shit. And I was like, I don't know. I think I only very slightly regret my decisions.
Nah, don't regret it. But it left me asking myself many questions. That's all. That being said, hello everybody. It's episode 42. Now, of course, we missed last week partially because of scheduling, and you know it's been a little exhausting. We're back, and I know my voice sounds a little crunchy. I'm working on it. I'm getting sick of the world shit. Anyway, that being said, Tiefling's unhinged. That's the standard. Yes, culture. Yep.
Oh, I didn't share the chats. I just realized. All right, there we go.
Wow.
Now we got yeah. Look, I keep thinking I have hit the button, and I forget that I need to hit a second button after I brought you in here. Yeah, no. The Haven is an unhinged tiefling. I have met very few tieflings in my life, but the two that I have been acquainted with in my time as a human on this earth, both of them are great friends of mine. Both of them are unhinged. It's great. I love them both dearly. But welcome everybody.
All right.
It is episode 42. So what are we talking about today?
So it is April. We would have talked about this last week, but we're here talking about it this week. Well, we're only off by we're not off by much of really any days.
Little over a week from launch on this one, which honestly we've done worse for that before. I mean, we have done worse.
I haven't seen a lot of talk about it yet, but we are talking about this April's DLC, which comes with some very kick-ass artwork from the lovely Dolan Pondsmith. Dolan, if you're watching, it looks fantastic. Love it.
You killed it. You killed it.
We have the 12 Days of Cutiemas. Now, you might be looking at us, Diamond, Emmerron. What the fuck? The 12 days, that's Christmas. Like, what is it doing here? Well, you know what? Happy early... I guess if this is out, we're not getting one this December. That's it.
Yeah. I'd also like to point out that there are two heavily sought after, and we've talked with some of the people at Artelsorian that we know, like Rob Barefoot, who will actually, as long as everything holds, I'm hoping it does. We should have him on next week.
Yep.
To talk things with us. So like, bear in mind that is coming down the pipeline. But that aside, talking to him, talking to Jay, even talking to some of the other members of the Artel crew, there are 2 DLC slots in the year that are highly sought after and somewhat competed for. And those are the April Fool's DLC and the Christmas DLC. And I have a feeling that whomever didn't get one of them this year got the other and said, I'm doing it anyway.
Well, when talking to them over at PAX, it sounds like, it was Jay, Rob, James, all of them putting their heads together for that. So it sounds like they worked together for that one. But like after, I think it was James Hutt did Mixing Drinks, Changing Lives last year. Nobody knew how to top off that one. Now, that being said,
this one does give it a run for its money.
I would actually put this one in par with like all the other April Fool's DLCs, for not just simply because A, it's entertaining, B, it is useful. Like there's a lot of useful stuff in here, and you might be wondering, okay, well, what's all in it? Well, 12 new pieces of gear, all based out of, well, Japanese. I don't know. What is Sanroo, like just one of those like marketing companies that just happens to sell weapons and adult toys and other?
Supposedly, they're a Korean toy brand.
Or are they Korean? I thought they were Japanese for some reason.
Yeah, they broke into the arms market. But yes, I do believe they are a Korean headquartered toy. They start as at least a Korean headquartered toy company that then split into the arms market when, as with most children's properties, adults just grew up, the children grew up into being adults. And so then those adults were like, I've got nostalgia for that cartoon cat character from when I was like 5. And well, adults have adult needs, like guns, for prime example here. So we got a lot of them, a whole lot of them.
So they are, they're, so here's a note on Sanroo that either Jay or James, but now I don't know, maybe they were out of Korea. Well, actually, maybe that's changed over time, like some other things in the timeline for some reason. But Sanroo is a firearms and rights holding. Okay, that's where it is. Firearms and rights holding company based out of Japan. In North America, they are best known for their Hello Cutie line of weapons and gear that are so adorable they'll bleed pink. Ah, there it is. Founded by ex-bankers from Fujiwara and ex-weaponsmiths of Tsunami Arms. Because I think Tsunami Arms is the Korean weapons company.
That could be it. Yeah, because I remember there being a Korean connection in with them somewhere. But like you said, it could be a case of lore slide. Like over time, things that were true now have been like relegated into a retcon. But yeah, I'm good with it. East Asian. East Asian modern pop aesthetic, moe pop aesthetic, like there's plenty to go around between Korea, Japan, China. They've all dabbled in it at some level.
Oh yeah. So it also gives us some insight on who the piranhas are outside the little look that we get in Danger Gal dossier. But of course, we meet we are welcomed by Corpse, who apparently is absolutely fascinated by math, thinking it's witchcraft. But then again, that might also just be the boost talking.
It wasn't because let me see. Corpse Reviver was convinced. Oh yeah. Okay. Because Corpse, see, the thing that threw me when I first read this, and I'm only now realizing, having like gone to the top again and like actually start rereading it in my head, I'm like, no, Corpse Reviver is literally referencing herself in the third person throughout all of this. That's what this is. Because I was like, oh, but I thought it was just someone like basically doing the worship thing where they're like, yes, our glorious leader, Corpse Reviver, turns numbers into glorious chemistry, which turn into eddies once we sell it on the street. And now it's like, oh wait, no. Corpse is literally doing this in her own head.
Yeah,
just referring to herself in the third.
Like the narrator. Yeah. So apparently her she had done a favor of if anybody remembers from the 12 Days of Red Mist, because look at that, we've got DLCs connecting each other. Remember, Santa absolutely flatlined Krampus in this recent 12 Days of Red Mist. How do you get that information? Corpse gave it to him. So, Corpse, in return, got the schematics for a bunch of Sanroo weapons. And the first one we're going to start off with, and the only thing I could think of like as real world equivalent to my fellow queer women, Blahai. we have the Captain Cuttlefish Ultra Snag'em, and what it is it is a plush cuttlefish. It also happens to have a bunch of different costumes for it as well. It is a one-handed, light melee weapon capable of making melee attacks from up to 10 meters away. Like, I think this is like the first. Is this the first ranged weapon we've had, or did we have something come up? Because I think CEMK got one.
So we've had we've had weapons that have like a reach property to them before. Because we've had the monowire, which I believe could go up to 6 meters. This is definitely the longest melee ranged like reach weapon that we've had thus far, though. Like I don't think we have anything else that maybe. Well, I'm trying to think. Maybe one of the cyberware mods that we got in the second CEMK DLC for the monowire would extend its reach a little further, but I'm not convinced that that's true. I think this. I still attest this is probably the longest reach weapon that we have right now.
Still,
if not, it's only one of two.
Not only that, what makes this thing also pretty good is it does a reduction on the aim shot penalty, and it does not need to deal damage to be effective. If you succeed with the aim shot, you can just rip a held item out of another person's hands when successful. It cannot be installed as cyberware, but still, you could literally just grab someone's weapon out of their hands, and I think that is, I think that is useful, and I'm kind of surprised we haven't had something like that sooner, to be honest. But
I mean, we've had aids for some of that in context, like some of the scopes and stuff. Like they technically reduce the penalty by giving you positives, right? So it just words it differently. Obviously, it's like, yeah, you take an aim shot, this gives you a +1. So effectively, what that actually does in the math is it makes your -8 a -7. And then it stacks to like a -6 to a -5, whatever, right? For every mod you have, that adds a bonus to that roll. You're working against the negative. So the fact that this works it that way, though, is definitely very interesting. For melee especially, it's very interesting because that's something where all the aim assistance that we've gotten thus far, I think, have been mostly focused on either long range sniping or generally guns. Like I don't think we have had a single one of the aimed anything, like any cyber or anything that actually affects your melee weapons when you're going for aim shots.
Not only that, it literally it rips things out of people's hands. Yes. Do we even have? I don't think we have anything besides brawling to do that at this time. Brawling's usually, I think, the only thing that could. So I mean, theoretically, like, then this comes down to some of that good old fashioned, what we like to call GM fiat. In theory, with something like a monowire that has the reach property, like it can hit further, right? But the monowire would still be the first time such a concept was really made possible. You could theorize that someone could utilize their brawling at a distance using the monowire to try and snag a weapon and yank it out of someone's hand that way. But yeah, it's all, there's nothing that has been rules as written can disarm someone at a range. The closest I think we've had raw is the Faisal's Dead or Alive, because it technically grapples the person and makes them unable to use anything that requires more than a single hand. So you get some of the like action economy upside, but it doesn't actually disarm them. So it's, it's marginal how similar the two are. But yeah. All right, next up in the list. The Hello Cutie Chromatic Rave Grenade. So it's
I love this thing.
So it is grenade ammunition that can be loaded into a launcher, but it can also be thrown. The grenade sticks to a surface in a square where it's landed on and initiates a thumping bass beat and colorful light show. And one of the first things I thought of was like, is this just like jury rigging those micro bag mini speakers that we got like in 12 Days of Cutiemas to a grenade? And that was like one of my first thoughts when I saw this.
Little sort of kinda.
And anyone who starts their turn within 10 meters of this area must make a DV13 concentration check or suffer a -2 to the end of their turn. And this goes for 2 rounds, and then the grenade explodes like a smoke screen with a lot more glitter too.
That I thought was a particularly fun little addition, where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, it's also a glitter bomb. Like that's hilarious. The one thing I really like about this is that in addition to just being like an incredibly good diversion grenade, because it effectively makes for a souped up flashbang in some regards. But the thing I think I like the most is the raw inclusion of the ability to slot a memory chip on this thing and make it play other music or like whatever music you want it to. So it's got like stock, like it'll work out of the box without a memory chip. But if you're a rocker boy and you're like, yeah, let me just show you how fire my mixtape is. You just slot, you have like a deck of memory chips in your bag, ready to slot into these things as you burn through them and just toss this shit down when you're running from a firefight. And then like, it's just like playing out your chrome rock or death metal, like whatever rocker shit you're doing with your band, and just like watches this thing pump smoke everywhere, get some black glitter to really pump that aesthetic. Like, yeah, you can do some fun shit with that as a rocker. Yeah.
And, you know, if your enemies do run away, well, they're covered in glitter, so you can't get rid of that. You can't.
Lawmen will love that one little trick.
All right, next up, we have the Hello Cutie Fisher Kitty. During a forced acquisition of Slam Dance, which this is some interesting lore that we got. Slam Dance Incorporated by Savoil. A handful of Slam Dance weaponsmiths escaped to Japan, where they sold this design of an anti-armored harpoon to Sanroo. And it's an exotic heavy pistol with a 4-shot capacity. And it's fired with the archery skill. And it cannot hit a target more than 50 meters away. And when I started reading through this, like, you know, what does this sound like? The Fisher Kitty fires a tungsten cable linked with mini harpoons to deal 2d6 damage, but it can't cause a critical injury, even if it does penetrate armor. Removing a single mini harpoon requires the target to take an action, and moving more than 50 meters will also just automatically yank the stuck mini harpoons free. And when the weapon's reloaded, all the harpoons retract into the weapon. It's incompatible with magazine attachments. As an action, a user can electrify the weapon, sending a jolt to any target stuck with 2 mini harpoons. The jolt deals 2d6 damage directly to the target's HP, or 3d6 if they've been stuck with 3 or more mini harpoons. Goodness.
Terrifying. That's terrifying. Yeah, I think this one, my honest opinion of this is that I think this is quite good. Especially if the type of character you want to play, because I feel like this is an archetype that I haven't by and large seen much at my table, and I don't know. I think, Diamond, you've described having characters played at your table that were more pacifistic, or at the very least they just didn't want to kill if they could help it. This is a great potential non-lethal option, or less, at the very least, less lethal option, where like you tase the shit out of someone and then like tell them to basically back the fuck up, or else you'll do it again. I kind of dig it.
And like looking at it, it looks like it still makes a note that it doesn't say it doesn't ablate armor either. So
no, not at all.
Like one of the big stopping points I've noticed with like non-lethal weapons, like the stun pistol and the stun baton, they don't ablate armor. That it's just like, okay, then why even use these? This I feel like changes that up quite a bit. And
I'm curious about the stun baton not ablating. I don't doubt you, by the way. Your knowledge of this shit is so much more encyclopedic than mine, but I'm curious because I'm like, the stun gun makes some sense there, but the baton makes less. Because I'm like, is that really? That's insane.
It might actually ablate armor. I've just always ruled at my table that, you know, stun gun and stun baton, like the stun baton ignores half SP because it's a melee weapon.
Right. Chargeable 8-hour when battery's fully drained, neither mode.
Let's see. But there's also a little note in here that Slam Dance began life as an underground weapons design shop. And Anatoly Novarogrov had a love for the Slam Dance weapons that he issued an order for the recruitment of the design shop, and it's now a subsidiary of Savoil, unfortunately. Yes, a large corporation liking something, so they want to buy it, and then suddenly the company that they bought goes downhill. We haven't seen that one before.
So, Raw, because obviously GM Fiat's always a thing.
Okay.
Raw, there actually is nothing in the stun baton, stun gun, or the pursuit security bouncer that says anything about armor ablation not happening. So technically, all three of those can ablate armor. Yes.
All right. I thought for some reason they didn't.
The two in the core rulebook, the stun baton, the stun gun, both cannot kill. They're non-lethal.
Okay.
That's
no,
the difference.
They can't
but they
cause
do ablate
critical
armor.
injuries. That's what it
Can't cause crits, and they cannot reduce someone below 1 health. If they would be reduced below, they're kept at 1 and rendered unconscious. That's the ruling. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but,
those
again,
are less
Fiat,
lethal.
You can do whatever you want.
Hello Cutie Fisher Kitty is a less lethal. The stun weapons are less than lethal. So take that how you wish. I do think though that the Fisher Kitty does bring a little bit more of the non-lethal, or well, in this case, less than lethal weapons to the table, and I think this is great. You can actually just have two people, because and also on top of that, it's a heavy pistol. So you fire 2 of these barbs at the same time. Now, given if you have to reload, you retract all 4 barbs back to the weapon. So you got to start the process all over again if you kept missing your shots. All right.
Let's see. When reload it all. Retract back. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, when they reload, they do retract. Okay. Because I was trying to, because they were saying something, I think there, if they move too far, they'll snap.
Oh.
Like you'll actually need to buy new barbs, basically.
All right. So next up, this one, I saw this, and it was just like, you know, I like this weapon a lot. I would definitely want to put the Ultra Kate on this weapon. The Hello Cutie Gun Friend is what it's called. I imagine if it translates over to another language, it probably comes across a little bit more clear. Thank you, Prepper.
Yeah.
This is
for reference, real quick, just to correct the record so everyone can hear it. I was actually wrong. I missed the fact is the way that they wrote the way they wrote weapon definitions in the core rulebook sometimes leaves critical information near the back of the description, and I'm expecting it up near the front.
Yep.
And so I missed. Yeah, there is a clause on both of those, the stun baton and the stun gun, that say they do not ablate armor. That my statement on the pursuit security bouncer though still stands. That one does ablate armor. So yeah, if you want a better stun baton, that is your option. And now we have a better stun gun in this. So that is this. These are both pretty much strict upgrades to things that were not as good in the core rulebook, but probably were a little more accessible. I was looking at these.
They're only $100
because these are 100 eddies. The stun gun and baton are both 100. Both of these other options are much more expensive than that. Yeah, so you need reach.
So the Hello Kitty gun friend. What a name!
Friend.
It's 1,000 ads. It has only 2 slots. Now, mind you, they follow the same format as they did for Toggle's Temple to show how many slots you have to put things on the vehicle or the weapon. I was talking with one of my nomads here recently. It's just like vehicle slots. No. You can put things on your vehicle. Just put them on there. Yes, you can put the heavy weapons mount and the machine gun mount both on your vehicle.
Yep.
So it comes from the Sanroo, from the cozy Sanroo sports anime. So that covers so Sanroo's now covering weapons, adult recreational devices, and animes. So an engineer was forced to work alone on a project under a 2-week deadline as a form of workplace bullying. Gross. Okay, so our favorite Pink Corporation is like that. Okay.
Like any other corporation their size, pretty much.
Also, the only way to find out if it's authentic or not, it's going to have a very specific, in a sense, watermark on it, which is a citrus-shaped imprint inside the magazine. Well, it's an excellent quality assault rifle for 1,000 ads, so it's already, double what a normal assault rifle is. But as an action, a user can install or uninstall a one-handed ranged weapon that does not need to be concealable before installation. So you could install an SMG, a very heavy pistol, a heavy pistol or a medium pistol in there. I think, and I think it's just any one-handed ranged weapon. So technically, you could stuff the Militech Crusher in there.
Yeah, because the rule on attachments says nothing about exotic weapons being the attachment, right? You could have an exotic attachable. There's nothing wrong with that. You just can't attach anything to the exotic. That's the only difference. So this is not an exotic. So
I was thinking about it. It's just like, if I just get the Sanroo Ultra Kate, I mean, boom, I have, assault rifle, heavy SMG, and very heavy pistol all in one.
And see,
and that makes it much better than the Modfire 10X.
It does potentially. The thing you're missing out on between the two, I would say, is there's I guess the Ultra K, that one does both heavy pistol and SMG, doesn't it? In terms of its firing modes. I mean, yeah, you basically, I think that ends up costing more than the mod fire between it all, because the Ultra Kate is also like a 5,000 eddy weapon, right?
Oh, it sure is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It sure is.
So the mod fire is your budget option of that construction. If you want the
Supreme
version,
it's all excellent quality.
Well, yes, and so this was what I was also going to kind of throw out and ask what your ruling opinion on this is.
Okay.
Because I don't believe, and I'm going to make sure that I will get called out more than once on this, guys. I know I will, because I'm terrible at reading quickly on the spot. Does it say anything in this weapon description? Because I don't think it does about install weapon can be started, attachments on what? Oh, there it is. Okay. attachments on one weapon do not affect the other, and they must be reloaded separately. So here is the one place potentially where this falls just a little bit flat. But again, this is just potentially. You cannot smart link the Ultra K8 because I believe that's a pure exotic weapon. So like, unless you heavily refactor it to accept a smart gun link.
One sec, because
or alternatively, you tech upgrade this gun to pass through any weapon attachments it has to the one stowed. That is the other way you could navigate that potentially. But that would be, because that's the one thing where I'm like, okay, if I'm a auto fire freak, right, and I'm just like, I want nothing but auto fire out of every mag in my, ownership that is on my person at all times.
So you can actually smart link a Sanroo Ultra Kate. It, despite being an exotic weapon, it has 2 slots.
No shit. Okay.
It is the gift that keeps on giving. Because I was just
that's insane.
Because I was thinking about it, it's just like, I'm confident that Dia would actually plug into her Ultra Kate and it's
would link it. Yeah. Fuck. Okay. If it's an exotic with attachment slots, then yeah, you're vibing.
I mean,
you're vibing and chilling.
That's part of the premium $5,000 for it. Because
that's fair.
Because not only that, it also gives you that +2 to wardrobe and style checks if you're wearing Asia Pop. So, yeah.
Yeah. No,
it's flare launcher.
It's very like, because now I'm imagining literally like, okay, say you had an old, by the time of the 70s, right? This is where we're talking 70s runners, right? By the standards of a 70s runner, you'd be an old timer, right? But imagine an old timer 40s edge runner that lived, right? That is survived to the point that they are a runner in the 70s still, or at the very least a living legend of a kind, right? Like kind of where you place Dio within the like, oh, hey, I lived, bitch, and these young runners don't know how bad we had it and how good they consequently had it.
I'd imagine she's going to be in a box by the end of the 50s, to be honest.
If we're playing it entirely lore accurate, maybe. But the bottom line is, if she survived, she'd probably be one of these edge runners that would be like, what is the granny over there got the fucking pink assault rifle and like smart links? Granny, stop playing with toys. And then you pop the Ultra K8 and watch her flatline a whole row of Tinos or some shit. Just like, that is why you fuck around with the old shit. They don't make it like this anymore.
Just like, yeah.
And it's got like a smart link in it, like an actual smart rebuild in it. Like, oh my God, you could do some fun shit with that.
Yeah, and I think like what I do think is appropriate though to keep it from getting too out of hand. Yeah, they do have to be reloaded separately, but that kind of falls in line with the combination weapon line that we got out of Black Chrome, such as, of course, the Militech Mastiff, the Sternmeyer's variable assault,
even dual mag pistols like the Fox are in that sort of category too. Yeah.
And of course, the K-Tech Tech Hammer, the best shotgun.
The Uncle Larry special, as I like to call it, from my own adventures. Yeah. No, it's a great one. I love that. I love that shotgun, man. It's so good.
Next up, we have something for those of you guys who like your board wear. Specifically linear frames. Well, actually, grafted muscle and bone lace enthusiasts. This would also be up your alley. The Hello Cutie Hyper Hammer. Yes, the per with P-U-R-R.
Hyper Hammer.
Everyone loves a giant hammer, and this thing's got an ultra dense core that slides down the handle to give you extra momentum when you hit. The Hyper Hammer, it is a two-handed, very heavy melee weapon. But it does not half SP like traditional melee weapons. Sorry, the flashbacks were coming back. All right.
PTSD of her players constantly reminding, "Hey, Dia, half SP, half SP."
The war never stopped.
I got to witness that last night. That is so still a thing on your streams with your crew. Like, I thought it was just us doing it.
No.
No, you've been getting it the whole way. Holy.
All the way since 2020. If wielded by a user with body 9 or higher, the weapon deals 1d6 additional damage, becoming a 5d6 weapon instead of a 4d6 weapon.
That's exciting.
Whenever this weapon causes a critical injury, the user rolls twice on the critical injury table. And they get to choose whichever critical injury the victim will suffer. So you might be wondering, well, can you use it if you're body 8 or lower? Well, you can, but the weapon will actively insult you with this high-pitched, nasally voice from a hidden speaker.
Wow, weak. I can't believe you've got such limp arms.
Oh,
seriously,
yeah,
have you
are...
gone to a gym this month, let alone this year?
Oh yeah, you're so strong. Look at you. You can't even wield the whole potential.
Wow. Arms exactly like I'd expect undercooked pasta to look. Great.
I wish they put a note in there that you cannot tech modify the speaker out of there, though. Like,
oh my God.
It is stuck in there, and you do not get to take it out.
See, yeah, like treat it almost like the One True Love, where it's like, if you try to take it off, you will
destroy it beyond repair.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, no, I think this thing, I think it's been really funny, honestly, because I've kind of noticed this trend that we've gotten more and more, because we saw, I think the first 5d6 heavy, or very heavy melee weapon that we saw was in Black Chrome, and that would have been, well, there were two then, because Rhinocephist, but Rhinocephist, I think it's just 5d6 if it's against cover. I don't think if it's against a person, it counts that way. Unless I'm wrong about that, which I'm entirely able to be wrong about this.
No. It becomes an excellent quality, very heavy. All right.
That's what I thought. I didn't think it was the Rhinocephist. It's the that overchargeable, ridiculous thermal blade.
The cleaver.
Yeah, the cleaver. So the cleaver was a 5d6 weapon that had ridiculous spin-up requirements. Utterly ridiculous, unachievable spin-up requirements unless you knew it was time to go, like when you pulled it out. And like it's almost Sandevistan in the way that you have to like know the thing is happening and then like fire it, right? And then give it enough time to warm up on top of all of that. So like 5d6, fairly unachievable by most people, unless the op was right for it. We went from that to I think the next one we got was the Gorilla Arms mod, the cyberware update thingamabob we got in the DLC for the CMK, which gives you the power to do that with even that wasn't that. That was again, it was similar to the Rhinocephist. It was a 46 very heavy melee. So yeah, I mean, 5d6 melee weapons have been like very, very small in scope, and like
with good reason.
The reason I keep mixing the CMKs up is because Atom Smasher does have a fist in there that does 5d6. So I keep thinking that that's something anyone can get. No, it's an Atom Smasher special, and therefore Arasaka pimped out his frame, right? But this is the first time we've actually seen, I think, a non-tech upgraded, non-ridiculous, actually usable 5d6 weapon that's melee. I don't think we've seen another one that was player attainable before this, outside of like the realm of GMs allowing their techs to be updating with like power fist weapons and stuff like that. So that's very cool. I think that this is very, very neat, because it's kind of showing like there's some design progression happening with like the way melee like, not that I think melee is underpowered by any means. I think melee is more effective than I think a lot of players give it credit for. In most games, I think a lot of players gravitate to just the stuff that can like ignore armor, which of course, like, that is good. Like, I'm not saying that anything there is bad, but like raw damage in a melee weapon package is insane, especially very heavy. Like, very heavies, I feel like, get discounted like hell unless they've got some really cool gimmick.
Especially if like you're really good. Like imagine, you know, smacking someone with a very heavy melee weapon, and you have like 16 melee weapon skill.
Right.
You are bound to land headshots with that.
Potentially, yeah. Like, if you want to, well, and the best part here is if you've got, you know, Throngest the Mighty going up behind the average, you know, alleyway mook, and you've got your ambush round, and you can just say, all right, Throngest smash, and all of a sudden you just see him lift this thing over their head and just bring it down on them for a free headshot, because melee, fun fact, melee, if you can't see it coming, is a free hit, even headshots.
Mm-hmm.
So in case any of you listening did not know that, now you do. So it literally just turns into, by the way, this is 5d6 raw damage to their head that is half SP if they even have head armor. Not all mooks have head armor. And so you literally could just go, all right, Throngest just smashes the guy.
This hammer does not ignore SP. It does not half SP. That's the catch on it.
Even then, though, because even
the Rostonic,
5d6
though.
average, yeah, I mean, like 5d6 averages out to, it's either 17 or 18 depending
18.
on how you round. Yeah, it's well, because 1d6 averaged is 3.5 technically, so it's like the game tends to round that down. Statisticians would probably round it up, so it's, again, it's just it's a rounding thing more than like anything else. But your average is going to land in the upper teens essentially for a 5d6 attack. So even if they have like a light armor jacked like head on, which again most average mooks don't, they'll be having Kevlar if they have anything up there. That'll do 20 damage through it to their noggin.
Of course, for those of you guys who might be fans of idols, they even acknowledged idol culture in this DLC as well. We have the Hello Cutie Janus Hex, matte black with masculine chrome magenta accents. The Janus Hex is a weapon for the desirable male, designed to politely fend off unwanted attention. Custom made by Sanroo in partnership with the chromatic rock idol group Take Your Best Shot. Tyler, Yuto, Benny, and Shintaro each have personally tested and approved that the weapon publicly pledged that it won't hurt any of their unique, beloved, and respected fans. It is only designed to disable them temporarily should they rush to the stage. And each weapon comes with its own sensible slim fit holster, which also can be converted to a purse holster with a robust pop-out titanium clip. So, you know, you can either have it concealed or, like, you know, carried out on your hip. This is an excellent quality. Okay, for $500, it's an excellent.
Low-key, I love this gun. I think this gun is very fun.
Yeah, and once again, this is another thing for the non-lethal crowd as well. It's an excellent quality, very heavy pistol with a 2-shot capacity capable of concealment. The weapon fires a proprietary eye irritant, heavy scent ball, which we'll talk more about scent balls here in a bit. That deals 1d6 damage when it hits someone. Now, okay, so less than lethal. It might hurt someone, but
1d6 is like nothing. Like, they've got to be on death's door for that to knock them down.
This is true. Yeah. A target with meat eyes hit by a scent ball round must succeed a DV-15, resist drugs and torture check, or suffer a -3 penalty to ranged attack checks, melee attack checks, vision-based perception checks for the duration of the effect. A target that succeeds a resist torture drugs check suffers it at a -2 instead. Or at a lesser -1 penalty instead. Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
You are taking a penalty. This gun says hold this L. It's just a matter of how heavy that L is for you to carry after you've accepted it. This is great. I love the design of this because it opens so many doors that have nothing to do with this gun, which I've always been a fan of as a GM. Like, this just says like you have to take an L. There is no not taking the L here.
The only way you dodge the L is by having cyber eyes, which you gotta spend $200 and some humanity on. The effect lasts for 1 hour until the target spends 10 minutes flushing their eyes out with water, with more than 30 options that are available to scent your weapon, including personal cologne of your Oshi. Incompatible with all magazine attachments. Which, I mean, this really comes off as like really someone's little pocket gun that, they are surrounded by security for probably for the most part. But, one time where, you have to be out in the open because you're performing, this makes sense. The genre...
Well, I'm just looking at it through the lens too of like, imagine being in a jurisdiction where like pepper spray is considered like assault with a weapon, right? Like an actual weapon. This is like, well, I just sprayed him with perfume, officer. Like, this feels deliberately designed to sidestep any kind of attempt by the law to be like, he assaulted him with a deadly weapon. No, it's just my perfume. Like, the fact that it got his eyes all welled up or whatever, not my problem. The fact is he was attacking me and I attacked him back with the only thing I had. And it's hardly a weapon if I'm spraying my cologne at them.
Oh boy, plausible deniability. Here we go.
It's literal. This is why I'm like, this thing has so many counter applications for like storytelling, for mechanics rulings, for all kinds of stuff. It's such a good weapon from like a multiple potential design perspective in terms of like what you could take away from this as a GM. And like, because I've always talked about this like more over top of other things, but it's like the more you get designs like this, the more the creators, right? Like James Hutt, Jay Gray, and the rest of them at Artel Soaring working on this stuff, give the players and GMs permission, not that they need to, but those of you who are concerned about like, oh, but will that be too far? Will it be copacetic with the rules as intended or written? This shows you exactly how far they're willing to take the rules as intended or written. And like gives you that open permission to be like, well, they did it here, so like, why couldn't you do it there? Like, if it made sense. So I love this. I just love everything about this.
All right, so you might be wondering about the scent ball here in a moment. The Jonas Hex scent balls, though, they come in packs of 4 for 20 eddies each. Every scent ball is marked with the face of one of the idol group's 4 members. This proprietary ammunition cannot be modified or fabricated unless the tech possesses a maker rank of 6 or higher. So
that was a fun one too. I love that.
The fact that some things are now it's just like you can't just scum being rank 4 tech and then just boosting your tech skills. It's just like
or multi-rolling tech and being like, well, I've already got a tech focused like primary role, like I'm a med tech, or maybe even like I'm a net runner with enough points in tech that this could work. Like you actually need to like think about it
in
as
tech.
Right. Well, and this is another case of like I really like what this opens up for GMs who are like not to put you on the spot, Diamond, but you are one of the GMs that I've heard have this sort of take on techs and invention before, where it's like, get that the hell away from my table. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to, deal with the implications of having a particle accelerator on a cyber arm.
No, not that.
But it's like, and I'm like, because I'm one of the GMs who sits on the other side of that spectrum, where I'm like, if you and I can come to an agreement about how this isn't totally imbalanced and unfair and like makes you basically an Avenger, like on the street,
an Avenger
like,
level
we
threat.
can talk about it. Yeah, like we can talk about it. I'm open to the discussion. This makes it very clear, like, GMs, don't be afraid to like set a floor, right? Like, to tell your tech, hey, that is a really cool idea, but you as a tech do not yet possess the theory capable of like really comprehending that design or really getting into it, right? You can say like, you need to get you must be at least this tall before you can invent that thing or build that thing or whatever, it is much better that way.
I swear this working idea that we have is going to get posted to Reddit, and a certain corner of the Cyberpunk RED community that is the very wily techs are going to be like, no, you can't lock it behind the tech level. It's like, don't worry about it.
And I'm like, I'm all here for it, because I'm like, yeah, no, like there are some things genuinely like you have to ask yourselves, right? Like, to addressing those wily techs who would scream, no, why would you prerequisite it? It's because, one, patent protections exist, right? Like, think about this is a great modern example actually of some techie bullshit in the real world. The people who cracked PS4 emulation, this is within the last year, right? All right.
Yep.
For the PS4 has existed for over a decade at this point, right? And yet we just cracked the means to be able to emulate that on PC hardware, right? So like, this required a certain level of tech understanding that someone had to do the work to like emulate it first because of proprietary protections, which this very much is like, these were proprietary design. They are a proprietary thing. You cannot easily refabricate them because there are probably inbuilt patent protections against people just being able to like plug in a 3D print file into their local Zeta Tech porta printer and just being like, look at this, I've got all the little symbols I could ever want. It's like, yes, they're cheap as fuck, but like that doesn't mean that they're not designed in a way that makes right. And so it's one of those things where like, I really like that they emulated some of that, where it's like, you can't be, just because you rolled a crit, right? You can't be the next, Aaron Malore or anything like that. You have to put work in and like develop your floor skill as a tech in order to like really design at that same level or compete at that level or refabricate some of the designs that these like really powerful famous techs have made in the past. I think that's great. I think it's great design.
Yeah, and like I suppose there's no, I am not anti-tech. Because like I know there is that camp of GMs where it's just like, it used to be netrunners were banned from the table. I've encountered some GMs that ban tech from the table, or if anything, they put a tight grip, like a vice grip on the tech.
Right, and I would never claim that you're one of those GMs, not at all.
Yeah,
but I know that like on the permissibility argument, you and I have definitely been on opposite sides of like someone bringing up an idea and I was very much like, oh yeah, let's talk about that, and you're like, I do not want to have that conversation, get that the hell away. So it's like, we're both pretty center on it though, where it's like, yeah, like we both want techs at our table, but it's like just a question of where we stand on like allowing players to do kooky shit. Like, I have lines, obviously. Like, I have another friend who, Diamond, you've met my buddy Robert, not the two other Roberts that we're planning on interviewing.
I've met Robert, and I've met Robert. I've also met Robert as well, and Robert.
Right, exactly. So Robert, who was in our Gen Con episode from this last year, he once had a tech, and he allowed this. He had a tech create a limited use like jump pack or like jet pack kind of thing. And that's one of those things where like, but when he and I were talking about it, we were on a long drive, like we were on a road trip to California. So we had hours to talk about whatever we wanted to. And like half the drive was spent discussing some of the kooky tech inventions his player had just come up with. And he allowed way more shit that did way crazier shit than I ever would allow in my games. So he is the extreme other end of the like you would describe like the wily techs essentially. They're like, it can modify stats permanently up or down. Sure. And I'm like, no.
Yes,
there's a reason most things can't do that. Like,
I have created a brain chip that just immediately bumps my reflex, dex, and move to 10. It's totally balanced GM because I'm going to spend 5,000 eds on the invention and then spend 1,000 eds on the fabrication.
Right. Yeah. It's like, no.
Well, that being said, Prepper Jack, you can't reverse engineer the Hello Kitty stuff. Oh, yeah, I imagine you could. I imagine you would, so that way Sanroo doesn't hunt you down because, suddenly you're making their stuff in their licensed design. Of course, you would probably want to just be like, okay, I like this, but I can't have it looking like that.
Yeah, just talk to JZK. She'll tell you all about what that takes.
Yeah. We've got the Hello Cutie mod ball gun. So Sanroo employees were complaining about these dull paintball games. So one of the weaponeers created basically modified paintballs. Are overpowered. I think for like the limited hopper, I think the limited hopper does like put a stopper on that one.
They ride a very thin line. But like some of the upper tier ones absolutely ride the line of being OP. They're really good.
But like also creating like for anyone to make them, it does require a fabrication DB that you must beat, and for some, you're gonna struggle to get it, especially if you happen to have dumped tech. Now, mind you, my wife has created paintballs for her air pistol that just so happen to splash 2-2 on people. Given it's a 2-step process, you have to splash them with the 2-2 and then light them on fire to make them deadly on fire. But it does take effort, and this also got me some very wise words from a very wise man to not piss my wife off.
Who was that? That was Mike? That told you Mike Pondsmith told you that?
I'm confident it was Mike, but it was someone at the Artal booth. I think
I'm 90% sure it was Mike, and I think Jay chimed in with a similar sentiment. Yeah, like... Don't piss her off, man.
Yeah, don't I think that was like one of Mike's like general advice. Like when I mentioned I was getting married. It's like, yeah, don't upset your wife. And I'm like, of course, Mike.
Yeah. No, it was funny, but it's funny though. Some of the design here literally mimics what you had told them about, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
And I'm not saying that, Artal stole that idea. It may just happen that this was a thing. They just didn't know where to put it yet. And
yeah. Well, and to be fair, it's a pretty easily comprehensible idea of
easily.
Oh, well, yeah, you just put flammable liquid into easily explodable ball, light it on fire. Like, that's not a hard
easy
thing
peasy
to come to the conclusion of.
So it is a medium pistol. So that means it does have rate of fire too, but it only has a hopper of 5. And it is only capable of firing a variety of proprietary liquid-filled mod ball ammunition. So you can't put, your own weird concoctions in there. unlike other weapons, it can be loaded with a mix of up to 5 different types. So this kind of takes me back to like the Hades multi-purpose assault weapon or assault shotgun that you can select what ammo you want. And then here's something that I'm wondering if we're going to see more of this in the future. Any non-tech who owns the mod ball construction kit that comes comes with the mod ball gun, the kit itself is a separate item at 100 eddies.
Yep. Not bad. That's reachable.
Yeah, but the gun's 500. Then you need to spend another 100 to be able to make your own ammo. You could form the ammo as if you were a tech with fabrication. Okay, not invention, not upgrade. Fabrication 2. The cost and DV changes on the mod ball being fabricated. Techs, I think techs forego this one.
It doesn't say anything about regular techs not being able to make the ammo on their own.
So here, just a quick rundown of all the options because time here. I know we're running a little long because we had some side tangents, but I think this has created some very good discussion on some future rulings down the road. The Dazzle mod ball, like Prepper Jack said, for $10, boom, flashbang on a single person, but it's it works as a flashbang, so it also gets the ears along with the eyes. Okay. We have the Mega.
Just a really hard snap almost.
Oh yeah, it like those like little snappers you threw at the ground. Yeah. The Mega Ouchie mod ball is acts as biotoxin ammunition. And then there's the Ouchie mod ball, which is just poison.
So for reference, viewers, if you bought a clip, if you could, or like a quiver, I suppose, because I think biotoxin's only available as grenades and arrows. But if you got biotoxin ammo in a 10-pack, right, and any ammunition that could 10-pack it, you're still on average spending 50 eddies per round in the 10-pack, because it's 500 for the 10-pack. So the fact is, this is like half as expensive per mod ball, like comparative. That's insane. That is actually insane. The fact that anyone could make this, so reach no longer matters for biotoxin once you have this, is utterly crazy to me. Like, that is so powerful.
Then we have the Slippy mod ball, which it's filled with lubricant, probably from Sov oil. The target takes no damage, but gains a +1 bonus to contortionists and brawling checks to avoid or escape grapple. If it's fired at the ground, anyone attempting to pass through the puddle of lubricant must beat a DV13 athletics check or fall prone. Multiple instances do not stack. Removing the lubricant requires 5 minutes of washing with water. Okay, so it's personal lubricant. All right.
Yeah.
And it dries in an hour.
If you want to create a Mizutsune fight, those are my Monster Hunter Wilds friends.
Or Rise, for the matter.
Or Rise, yeah. If you want a Mizutsune fight, you just take this, mix it with some of the Cyber Pets DLC stuff that we got last year, and you have a Mizutsune ready to go, basically. You're chilling.
God. No, there was for anybody who happened to have been around while I was doing Monster Hunter Rise, you all know that, like, trying to go to rank 9, that Mizusune, so many deaths,
I just
so
fought
many
my
cards.
first one last night, so it's fresh in my mind. Like, it wasn't that bad, honestly. The
now it
Fire
wasn't.
Eye mode was pretty hard, but it wasn't terrible.
Next up, we have Splashy mod balls. Balls of paint that do no damage, but the paint is highly flammable. If exposed to an ignition source, perhaps, incendiary ammo, You take 2 damage directly to your HP, and you are set mildly on fire. Removing the paint requires 5 minutes also. So this means you could keep getting lit up again and again and again until you get rid of the paint.
Worth mentioning, I think we might have overlooked this, was the Ouchie mod ball, which is like
poison.
the Mega Ouchie, but it's just poison. Yeah, there's no other difference.
I did make mention of it, but like biotoxin ammo is like huge.
Yes, very.
Next up, I was wondering when we were going to get these. We got the Hello Cutie Monopaw. Razor sharp retractable cat claws with monomolecular tips. It was a venture between Kendachi and Sanroo. It's an excellent quality medium melee weapon that deals 1d6 damage and can be successfully concealed without a check. Damage dealt by this weapon ignores the target's armor entirely if it's lower than 11 SP at 500 eddies, mind you. Targets with higher SP still interacted as normal, just half SP. While the Monopaw is active, the user cannot hold anything else in their hand. My mind immediately comes to rippers, or somewhere between scratchers and rippers.
So when I first saw this, the question that entered my mind was, why is it a medium melee weapon, but its damage is statted like a light melee weapon? Why did they make the difference in medium or light here?
And you can't poison them.
You cannot, exactly. And I was like, oh, like the moment my mind landed on that, I was like, there it is. Because otherwise, ROF and stuff, it is exactly the same, but they literally made it just so you couldn't poison the blade, which is great, honestly. It's a good thing to do.
And I think for it being for what it seems like, it can be concealed without a check. Mm-hmm. It ignores 11, below 11 SP, and it's only $500, mind you, for that.
Yeah, it's very good. Like, this is very, very good. If you want, it's still cool because this still leaves it open that like scratchers and their larger counterparts like wolvers are not invalidated in existing with this around, because at this point you're kind of asking yourself, would I prefer 1d6 that goes straight through my target's armor most of the time if they're wearing gonk level armor, or would I prefer having 2d6 without that property, but I have the chance to crit or do extra damage?
Yep.
Because that's kind of the question in your head, and different players are going to come out on different sides of what they would place priority on.
First thing I thought, though, is just, oh god, office lady nails. Anyway.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I'm not talking about, ones at keyboards either, because long nails at keyboards do not go nicely. Yeah, so does anybody else remember the Vine of the machine, the guy holding the cat like an SMG, and it, sounded like that? Yeah, that one. That one.
Yeah.
Hello, Cutie, my friend, the Ocelot. It's a interactive digital pet from Sanroo. That's a great home defense solution. Covered in Ocelot patterned real skin, which James Hutt really gave me a good view on. How do they? I was like, James, how do they get the fur for this? And I got an interesting explanation for it. This fuzzy weapon is perfect for cuddling up on a cold night. And it's even heated to enhance your experience. It is an excellent quality shot.
I kind of hate that whole description. I hate. It's okay.
I mean, so it looks like a cat, mind you, or an ocelot. It is an excellent quality shotgun with a 12 shot capacity. Okay, so already it's a shotgun that's got 3 times the normal capacity. It can only fire shotgun slug ammo. Why?
Okay.
It has auto fire 4 on the SMG table.
What?
Auto fire 4 on the SMG table.
Shit. So you get an auto fire round and then 2 follow-up single shot rounds.
You get 3.
Do that.
Because it only burns 4 slugs per burst.
Oh shit. Okay, so you could. Wow. Okay. So triple auto fire with that on an SMG table. Huh.
So it is definitely a close quarter combat weapon. That being said, the weapon can only be reloaded by a user with the correct biometric key. So you gotta hand over your biometric info for this. To input this key, the user must pet the weapon as an action, which unlocks the weapon's ammunition chamber for 9 sections, aka 3 rounds, incompatible with all magazine attachments.
No shit. Yeah, that makes sense. But even then,
it comes in at 1,500 eddies at very expensive. You could probably make like a normal auto shotgun at 5,000. I'd say 5,000 eds to bypass the reloading issue.
Yeah, maybe. Wow. Because all this thing is, price-wise, is an excellent quality shotgun with a drum mag. That is literally what this is. And I guess because I think drum mags still only eat a single attachment slot.
Yep.
So with 1 less attachment slot on top of all of that, but that you could argue that's the auto fire mechanisms or whatever that are needed for that functionality. Bottom line, this is an unnerving yet very good gun. It's very powerful. 1,500 for an auto fire shotgun is like, even if you don't use it for auto firing and you do use it for single firing, it's incredible.
A fucking skinny shaped auto shotgun. I'm just gonna think of that. Just.
Oh, hell hath no fury like my bully of a cat. She harasses her sister so often. This would be the kind of spiteful she'd be.
Now, for something different, cyberware. Hello Cutie Sparkle Eyes with IZE. Or did I miss something?
What about the Thundercat bat?
Oh, I missed the Thundercat bat. All right, I'm so sorry. So at 750 ads, we get the Hello Cutie Thundercat bat. Celebrate Japan's love of baseball. Hello Cutie Thundercat ensures that every crack of the bat pops with the sonic boom of a home run. And they used this. They carefully calibrated this stylized stun baton to produce a sound that's the same glass-shattering smack from an FBC playing baseball in 2043. It's a two-handed, excellent quality stun baton. The target hit by the weapon must succeed a DV-15 resist drugs to torture check. If they fail, they suffer the damaged ear critical injury without the bonus damage, of course. A target without and the user must also make the check if they're not wearing hearing protection whenever they hit someone.
Fair, honestly.
I mean, all in all, I think, it's a nice upgrade from the, I think it's a nice upgrade from the stun baton, just because it can do a little bit more to incapacitate your foes. But like, wow, it literally breaks glass every time it smacks someone. Goodness.
That's really interesting though, because like, you still, based on the fact that it describes it as an excellent quality stun baton, that means it would not ablate armor.
Nope.
That is intriguing. This is like the first of the weapons in this that I'm like, I don't know if the juice is quite worth the squeeze on that one, because like, it's excellent quality. Because the stun batons are what? They're medium?
They're standard medium quality weapons. They're medium melee weapons.
So 2d6, that has to be enough to go through armor. It does not ablate the armor if it hits. It still halves the SP effectively, but it doesn't get rid of it on a hit.
Now, mind you, you only have to hit to force someone to do the resist drugs or torture check. You don't have to do damage.
Right. I'm just debating on whether or not that's better or worse than, I guess it's more targeted than a flashbang would be, because this is effectively just what a flashbang does, built into the weapon. That's kind of what you're buying here.
Yep. I think in the hands of the right person, this would be a very effective weapon.
Yeah, like I could see it. I could see it being good. It's the first one in this whole DLC though that we've talked about so far that I'm like, I don't know about that one, Chief. But yeah, I mean, flavorfully, it's very good. It's very cool, and it does have some niche functionality that could make it useful. But it's the first one that's kind of like that's kind of a niche design. I don't know about that, at least for me, right?
So, next up, for cyberware, we have the Hello Kitty Sparkle Eyes. Be the wife who you always wanted to date, and supersize your cyber optics with sparkle eyes for those big eyes, super shine. So it takes two
moe eyes.
Yes, so it does take 2 option slots out of your cyber eyes. And you get a flat, is it a cyber eye? Cyber eye option. It requires 2 slots, and you get built-in flashlights to your eyes. However, if paired, it's capable of illuminating your surroundings or blinding your enemies. If paired, a target with functional meat eyes or cyber optics within 25 meters of you must make a DV-15 resist drugs and torture check. And no check is required for this action. If the target fails, they suffer the damage die critical injury for 1 minute. Sufficient protection, such as the anti-dazzle cyber eye option, or like the Kiroshi eye shields, what were
like
those?
A mono shield or something.
I try to remember the little pop out. Adam Jensen's eye shutters.
They're like a shutter, yeah.
No.
I love it.
I like this. For
anyone like Diamond, you've seen the YouTube short or like TikTok where it's like I don't want to talk about it. No, come on. Like, why are you hiding your face? You're gonna laugh at me. Why would I laugh at you? Promise you're not gonna laugh at me. Yeah, why would I? And you're not gonna harass me about it after? Of course. What is it? Shows face. You got the anime eye surgery. You said you weren't gonna laugh. It's like, this is literally that in cyberware.
Well, not only that, I will sit there and I'm thinking about doing it. It's just like, oh, by the way, did you ever turn your eyes off? What do you mean? You blinded everyone else in the room. Oh! It's like, yeah, turn your fucking eyes off.
Me with my Boy Scout troop at like 16, walking up the side of a mountain under a full moon, and everyone else behind us for some reason still has their flashlights on, and you're just like, turn those fucking things off, Jesus!
Oh gosh, while I was in scouting, just the rookies with their headlamps, just like,
yeah,
hey,
they don't care where they're pointing them things. They're just like, huh? Turn it off, block it, something.
I'm going to address the new guys because it's like, all right, guys, and like I get 6 of these little like headlamps like right to the face. I'm like, So this one is not so much from Sanroo. It's from a small corporation, a small Icelandic startup. And
Husafel.
It's a partner of Sanroo. It's called Underjack. This new form of gear, an Underjack designed for urban combat use, allows you to utilize heavy weaponry without the invasive need of cyberware. Many Euro solos claim to sleep in the 100% waterproof item and mention it's easy to wash in a bath, fjord, or garden hose.
Well, specifically, it's easy to wash both body and Underjack both at the same time while bathing or showering. So they just never take it off, in other words.
It's a hydraulic support-laced undershirt that increases a user's body by 2. It cannot raise the body above 10. And it also doesn't improve your HP or death save. But it doesn't stack with other things. So if you don't want cyberware, but you want body 10 to allow you to use things like, the Midnight Arms Beast and things like that, this is a way to go. And it's only 1,000 eds.
Yeah.
It's
the same as a gimbal.
Yeah, I say it's only 1,000 eds, but it's 1,000 eds, but you're not spending humanity loss on it.
Yep. No, like that is, it's reasonable for what it does. I think this is a very, very reasonable piece of equipment. And yeah, for people who want to be like full organic and not have to worry about like losing humanity, or if you like heavy empathy, that's why they mention Euro solos in particular. Euro solos are known for being much more the charming James Bond types rather than the rough, battle-hardened veterans that we typically see in Night City. Who are much more the like, yeah, I'm gonna flatten every motherfucker in this here room. Euro solos are like, all right, so I'm gonna give you two choices. You can either leave right now, or I am going to flatline every motherfucker in this room. Much more suave, much more charming, a little more polite.
Yeah,
that's because they have higher empathy for shit like this.
I think like the Rocker Boy solo mixture is known as the Euro solo, actually, in collecting the random. But yeah, I do think this is quite nice that we are finally getting a non-cyberware option along these lines. Now, given, of course, you could have that taken from you.
Yeah, theoretically. The fact that it's an undershirt makes it both a little more difficult to detect that you have it, as well as it's not the first thing they're going to try and take off you unless they know, right?
Yep.
Or are like inclined to like, yeah, really get down in there, strip search him, make sure there's nothing he's hiding under all them clothes. And then they go through and steal your underjack. But like, unless they're a scav of the highest caliber like that, they're probably not going to do that.
And that being said, that is 12 more items that have been added to the gear pile. Like I think at some point they said we're like coming up on like how many pieces of gear there were in Cyberpunk 2020 already. So we're moving closer to that pile of items.
We are between what we've gotten ported forward from 2020 and what we've had new within the confines of Red. I think the item list is, because I think we did the math on this once, and I think we're longer in Red now. Like we have more items, or it's either we're so close to parity with it, or we have actually gone over. Like we have more items in Red now than they ever had in 2020. So 2020 players that complained about gear variety at launch, eat your heart out, I guess. We actually
we have stuff. We have all kinds of stuff. We have stuff that kills, we have stuff that fixes you, we have stuff to cover you, we have stuff for even sniffing your drugs.
And we have tables to make more stuff in case that wasn't enough stuff for you in the hard written rules. We have the gun path.
All right, that being said, folks, thanks for tuning in so far. I'm Diamond Dust.
And I'm Emmerron.
And we are going to be talking about what today's special number of the day is, 42, on Emmerron's half of the episode. So, click on the link below, and you're about to have your mind opened with some absolutely mind-blowing facts. I don't know if maybe facts, but ideas and tips and other things. I'll see you there. Anyway, we're not Star Citizen. It's not concepts. Anyway. All right. That being said, I'll see you. Bye bye now. Bye
guys.